nuance, even if it wasn't the exposition. Maybe you missed if somebody got divorced or exactly when it happened or whatever, but you don't need it because that's not what we were getting at. We're getting after.
Should I have?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this show was created by Raphael Bob Waxberg, who also created BoJack Horseman. He was the co-showrunner on Tuca and Birdie, which was itself created by Lisa Hannawalt, and she is a supervising producer here. He said in a Vulture profile of the show by Rebecca Alter, I'll paraphrase, but basically those time jumps are something you can do in animation that you would definitely need prosthetics or CGI to do live, and it's a empathy cheat code, right? If you're fast forwarding our attachment to these characters because we feel like we've grown up with them, because we've seen them at so many stages of life. It's really smart. And Lisa Hannawalt designed these characters, and I liked the design of this show, which is intentionally lo-fi. Everything's supposed to look hand-drawn. Of course it wasn't, but it's supposed to look like that. And there's a real method to it, because if you notice, Avi and Shira have their mother's nose, but Yoshi has his father's nose, which is a visual shorthand for why Avi and Shira butt heads with Naomi so much, and why Elliot, the father, coddles Yoshi. There's an episode where the parents rent a beach house, and that beach house's decor is so obnoxiously nautical.
But haven't you stayed there? I feel like I've stayed there.
Everybody is just like, oh, here's some netting. Great.
In case you forget. And they even make those jokes, those jokes that we made, but they're somehow smarter and funnier coming out of those characters' mouths, like, of course you're not going to forget you're at the beach, but it's so good.
It's so good. This show's heart has a way of sneaking up on you, and you get the sense it's really pulling for these characters. It wants them to find meaning. There is a surprising lot about faith in this show, which usually leaves me cold, but I don't know, I could see how much it meant to these characters who are having that struggle, so I just went with it.
Yeah, the faith stuff didn't feel extra or moralizing. And I think that's usually the places, right, because I'm with you, where it ends up, where it either feels like tacked on, maybe to market to a specific group, or it feels like this is the way you should be. And nobody in this show is doing that, right? Like, it's a show about persevering, right? So they're all just trying to persevere and figure out their own identities, how they exist in the world. And for them, faith and also Jewish culture is a huge part of that. And they have to negotiate it in different ways, and they come up with different solutions. And maybe that's why it's not so moralizing, is it's like none of them have it all the way figured out, and none of them are even pretending that they have it all figured out, right? They're just like, here's a thing I found that maybe makes things better.
Naomi's pretty convinced she knows exactly what's going on, but that's the joke, of course. That's the joke.
There's no one right way to be Jewish.
But there is a progressive, egalitarian, conservative Judaism with an emphasis on ritual and community over faith and blind practice. That's literally the only way it makes sense. I figured it out.
Can I take your temperature on one thing? My one, not critique, but like when this show gets close to kind of conventional satire, I feel like it lags a bit. There's an episode where Avi becomes involved with some moms at his daughter's school. That goes exactly where you expect it to go. The targets of the jokes are the ones you expect it to be. That felt a bit tidy, and I think the appeal of this show is not the tidy zinger, but something messier and more human and fallible. What do you think?
I hear that, yeah. I thought that the double meaning of wolves was smart on that episode.
Sure.
But yeah, the PTA politics were less interesting, although they could be true to someone's experience. Yeah, I don't think that was its strongest. I do want to say it's really hard to do anything about COVID on TV and have it be watchable, and I felt like this did a pretty good job. I think the structure made it so that we didn't get stuck.
Yeah.
Being stuck is not great TV. So I was able to dip in and talk about how that time affected its characters, what it meant, but we didn't get stuck there. And I thought, in terms of media I've seen trying to depict the height of the pandemic, that it did a pretty good job. What did you think?
Yeah. No, I thought that was great too. I also think it definitely benefits from the structure where you're exactly right. You dip in, you get a sense of the lay of the land, the kind of chronological lay of the land, the narrative lay of the land, and then you're out, right? Because you go back to a different time, or you flash forward in time, and usually an episode begins with a little glimpse of a time period, and they go to a different time period.